Hi everybody, Patrick here from Engineering Shock Electronics, engineeringshock.com. This is the Raspberry Pi, no without the Raspberry Pi, RPI, no RPI for short, Project 4. So I've gone to File, I've gone New, and I've created a new Python file. I've named it Project 4. So let's go to the project page. Here we go, Project 4. As always, read the introduction here. Project 4 Python code. We're going to copy it all. Plug it into our PyCharm. I believe that we're still using COM4, so I'll change this to COM4. Baud rate's still the same. We've got a new module here called Play Sound. So just so that we can get it properly imported, I'm gonna go to Run. I don't have my RPI, no RPI connected, but I don't care about that right now. I'm gonna go to Run. Project 4, and we're gonna get failure because there's no play sound. So come on, let's see if we can get the window to pop up. This is the frustrating part. Okay, file, settings, pip, okay. Come on. Here we go. Install package play sound. That little window, that little red balloon. See, look at the bottom. It's downloading, installing package play sound, and it's done. Now, you're gonna have to read all this because again, I can't go through the code on every single project video. Everything's fully commented. But what play sound does, it allows for us to play audio files. Now, I've got my headphones plugged in right now, so first things first. What we're gonna have to do is we're going to have to create a sound. So I'm gonna go down here. We're gonna have to create a soundbite, and for that, it's talked about in here. Here we go, from text-to-speech.com. So I'm gonna go to Google, from text-to-speech.com. Now, one thing about this website, it's finicky. It sometimes works, it sometimes doesn't. Okay, so I've gone here. ttsmp3.com seems to be okay. I created a soundbite. Who turned out the lights? I just chose English. Sally downloaded as MP3. So once it was downloaded, I went to my downloads folder. I renamed it lights.mp3. It gave me this weird name, so I named it lights, and I put it in here. I created a users. It was under C users, my own little thing, Engineering Shock, and I created a folder sound called Soundbites. In there, I put lights.mp3. So if I right click and say copy as path, I can paste it in here and it should look like this. So if I paste this in here, it's going to give me double quotations. I just want single quotation. Hopefully this works. If I have to tune it, I'll do it later, but it'll play that soundbite. When I say play sound and then give it the link, it'll play it. So you might not be able to hear it when I actually play it because I'm going to test it in a second. I've got my headphones on. It'll play in my ears and not into the microphone, but let's just see what happens. So anyway, I'm going to go back to the project page, and I'm going to get the Project 4 code for the Arduino, or the Raspberry Pi, no RPI. Again, make sure you've got it fully copied, even the brackets at the bottom. Throw it into a new project. Save it as RPI4. And I will make sure I'm on COM4. Yep. Upload it. See that it's doing its thing down here. It's going to take a second. Now, what I'm going to need to do is at the end of the video, I'm going to select the light sensor on the rail, which connects its LDR to A3. As you can see, we're sampling A3 here. And I am going to, it's loaded, and now I'm going to give this a shot. Let's run this project, run Project 4. Okay. Okay, so a couple frustrating things here. I'll have to change the code, but when you paste your path here, make sure, again, not double quotations with single quotations, that you add in an extra forward slash or backslash. So it looks like this. Here, 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 and here. As well, what you're going to need to do, as frustrating as it is go to Settings, your project, RPI, Interpreter, go to Play Sound, double click on it, find it, play sound. There we go. Go to specify version 1.2.2. 1.3.0 is a pain in the butt. And then put install package. Wait a second, it's done. Now it should work. It does for me. So if I run the program and I cover my sensor up.
Who turned out the lights?
It says it. So when I unplug my earphones, you'll hear it too. So what happens is basically we've seen most of this main code before. We've got our importing. We've imported everything. We've set play sound to a previous version. We've got our I just realized I'm chewing gum. I sincerely apologize for that. We've got our setting up of our microcontroller, our RPI, no RPI. You've seen slicer before. We're doing the exact same thing. We're slicing up a value and turning it back into an integer. This was seen in project 2, I believe. So if you haven't already seen that, go back. This is our write read. So we're asking, when we call this function, we're sending along x. We write x to the RPI, no RPI, set a global variable called data, and we're going to read back from the RPI, no RPI, and return that value. So let's look at the main code here. So this is the main code. X equals 0, and do a forever loop where we send x equals 5, which is 53 ASCII, and we'll send it by saying value equals write read x. So we'll send over x, which is 5, 53 ASCII, and the return value from the RPI, no RPI will be placed in the variable value. We'll print what value is. We'll send value to the slicer module, and we'll return a new number that's in integer form. We'll print it. Again, this is all covered in previous videos. If value equals 0, it means the lights are off. And it'll print this to the shell, who turn out the lights, and it will play the soundbite. Otherwise, it will just be like, the lights are on, baby cakes. And that's it. Very simple. Sorry if this video has been a bit convoluted. I ran into some problems, and I figured I'd walk along with you, because I imagine you'll probably find some problems too. But the lucky thing is that Google is a thing. Anyway, let's look over at the Arduino code. Very simple. Set up the LCD. Incoming byte is the byte being used to transfer and receive data from our RPI, or from the computer. We got our integer hold equaling 0. Set up the LCD, clear it, set up the backlight enable, turn it on, print project 4, wait 2 seconds, set up the serial communications, which allows for us to communicate with the RPI, no RPI. Set it to a baud rate of 115200, and here's the loop. We wait for a command. We wait for the command from the RPI, no RPI, and it don't do anything until we get something. When we get it, we'll read it. We'll place the value in incoming byte. If the value equals 53 or 5 decibel, which it is every single time we send it, take an analog reading of the light sensor in A3 and place it in hold. If hold is greater than 700, then the lights are out. When the sensor itself sees a higher voltage when the lights are out and a low voltage when the lights are on. So the analog to digital converter is 10 bits, so it can read between a value of 0, which is 0 volts, to all the way to 1023, which is 5 volts. So 700 is about 3 point something volts. And anyway, so if it's higher than 700, clear the LCD, print lights out, hold equals 0 again, and serial print hold. See, when the RPI, no RPI receives a 0, it knows that the lights are out, and it plays the sound byte. Otherwise, clear the LCD, print that the lights are on, hold equals 1, and then send that to the RPI, no RPI through the serial print command. Wait 100 milliseconds, and then start back at the top of the loop. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to turn my camera on so I can see the RPI no RPI in action. So the RPI no RPI is currently sending commands to the RPI no RPI. Sorry, the computer is, and the lights are on, so we don't see anything visual here. I've got the LDR jumper placed, so we've got that connected to the A3 pin. I've got all my LCD connectors on, and because I'm in a well-lit room and it's daytime, I'm just going to use my hand. Here's the light sensor right here.
Who turned out the lights? Who turned out the lights?
So play with the play sound module. It's a lot of fun. I'm sorry that I struggled so much with that video. Again, when I run into problems, I like to keep them in the videos just because, keeping in mind that I wrote this on a different computer. I wrote this entire set of programs on a different computer. I wanted to start fresh on this computer because I didn't have PyCharm installed. So that's that. Hopefully you were able to follow along and not get too frustrated with me. I hope that me going through the learning experience, I just used Google and was able to figure it out. But yeah, downgrading the play sound module from 13.0 to 1.2.2 was the problem. And it was easy enough to do, and I've given you the instructions on how to do it. So thanks again. Stay tuned for Project 5.